cracking.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Football Don't Lie podcast, NFL Draft Grades. We just did part 1, and by the time we're recording this, that should be uploaded. By the time we upload this video, and hopefully you guys saw our part 1 grades. It is alphabetical; it wasn't by conference or anything. So, if your team by city was in the upper half, then you guys should check that out. If your team is in the lower half, this is the video for you. We ended on the Kansas City Chiefs in the last video. We're going to be resuming with the Los Angeles Chargers, the same order as last time, with it going first, me going second, Tatis going third, and Hudson going fourth. Now, I'm like I did towards the end last video. I'm gonna be covering the picks from the 1 through 4 rounds because I think those are like the most important ones for each team, except for the teams that we're fans of. So the Dolphins and Eagles will get full coverage because Ip and Hudson are fans of those teams. Let's start off with the Chargers, though. Obviously, they took Rashawn Slater at number 13 out of tackle out of Northwestern. Assante Samuel with the 15th pick in the second round. Corner out of FSU. Josh Palmer, wide receiver out of Tennessee in the third round, along with Trey McKitty, tight end out of Georgia, as well as Chris Rumph, the second edge rusher out of Duke in the fourth round. Ip, what do you have? Chargers.
I think Rashawn Slater at 13 was a steal. It should have gone way before then, and he just seemed to fall right into the Chargers' lap. Asante Samuel, a bit of an undersized corner. So it'll be interesting to see how well they can coach him up. Josh Palmer did not have much of any production at Tennessee, but his skill was always there. It's just Tennessee never had anyone good around him. In regards to the other late round picks, I say they got tremendous value in Mark Webb in the 7th, I want to say. So with that, I'm going to give the Chargers an A-.
I'm gonna give the Chargers an A. I think Rashawn Slater itself should warrant this grade for me because the fact that he fell to 13 was an absolute steal. I had him going 8 to the Panthers in my mock draft. I'm really surprised that half these teams didn't even take him, and I was really high on him. As a Lions fan, if we didn't get Penei Sewell or a receiver, Rashawn Slater was a guy that I would really have liked us to take, but we did get Sewell. Asante Samuel as well was a steal in my opinion because I had him going in the first round towards the back end in the 20s. I'm not familiar with the others. I've seen a bit of Trey McKitty, and he looks all right, but I haven't seen enough to like make a judgment. But for those top 2 picks itself, I'm gonna give him an A.
Yeah, I completely agree here. The Slater one was surprising. I knew once the Panthers passed him, I thought the Giants were going to take him, but once the Giants traded down, I mean, like he just fell to their lap because the Cowboys were going to take defense anyways, and the Eagles were going to take a receiver. So like the Chargers just got the lucky draw. So they got a top 8 pick at 13, which is crazy, and then Asante Samuel Jr., who is undersized, but I think is one of the more polished players coming into this draft. I just think, they nailed it with those first 2 picks. So much to the fact that I just have to give them an A for this draft.
Just definitely got a steal in Rashawn Slater at number 13. That was one of the best picks in the draft. Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round, mid-second round, was also a steal, I believe. I thought he was going to go in the first round, if not maybe the very early second round. So I think that getting him in the mid-second round is a steal. Like Gabe said, also some good value Mark Webb out of Georgia in the 7th round. And Trey McKitty, I think a good pickup at tight end. Josh Palmer, I think that they might have been able to get a different guy like Amari Rodgers possibly. But I think that should be good. The Chargers have a pretty nice offense in Herbert, Eckler, and Mike Williams, I want to say, and Keenan Allen. So it should be a pretty good season for Los Angeles. Of course, this draft to me was all about protecting that rookie quarterback in Herbert, or second year now. And I think that Rashawn Slater is a nice way to start.
Okay, next team, Los Angeles Rams, my fault. Started their draft in the second round by taking Tutu Atwell, receiver out of Louisville with the 25th pick in the second round. And in the third round, picked up Ernest Jones from South Carolina. Tatus probably watched a lot of him, linebacker. Bobby Brown, defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, as well as Robert Rochelle, cornerback from Central Arkansas in the fourth round, as well as Jacob Harris, shout out wide receiver from UCF. So, Ip, what are your grades on the Rams?
They had the 57th pick in the draft as their earliest pick, and they decided to pick the one position that they're loaded at already, besides from Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. So I'm not gonna lie. I don't know any other guys they picked were, but the fact they took Tutu Atwell in the second round just gives them an F. They could have taken linebackers like Cameron McGrone, Chaz Surratt, even Jabril Cox at that spot, and instead they decided to select a 5'9" receiver who doesn't really have the same burners that Deshaun Jackson does. So they're getting an F.
I was gonna give them a D, but it was kind of because of the same sort of reasons. I think that they were, like Abe said, they were really good at the receiver position, and they picked up 3 receivers. Like I said, the guy from UCF, I watched. Obviously, I go to UCF, so I watched him, and he's amazing. But I'm not really sure why they didn't get O linemen. They didn't get any O linemen in this draft. Like people like Jalen Mayfield or even Brady Christensen, you could have traded down, or you didn't even have to trade down. You probably could have gotten them in the second round itself. I mean, the third round itself, or the second round. So they didn't address the offensive line issue, which I thought was a big problem for them last year. And yeah, I just think they took way too many receivers. So I'm gonna give them a D.
Give the Rams a C here. I really like the Ernest Jones pick. Ernest Jones was at South Carolina. He was sort of the quarterback of the defense, so he's experienced. So I'm pretty sure he'll play middle linebacker. He'll be very much help to the Rams in the middle because their defense in the middle with their linebacking core needed some help. But their corners and safeties, obviously we know. But you guys are also forgetting the fact that technically their first round pick was Jalen Ramsey. I mean, considering they traded that for him, so like you have to put that into consideration. But other than that, the 2-2 pick, I was kind of head scratch. 5'9" receiver, but they did pick 3 receivers because I don't think Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods can do it all the time. Cooper Kupp, he had an injury I think last year, or like a lingering injury. So like, it's gonna be weird, but get weapons for Stafford and let him throw it out. So we'll see, but I'll give him a C for those.
I mean, of course, the Rams didn't have their first round pick this year. They're not going to have it for the next, I think they said it was for the next 5 years or so after the Stafford trade.
No, 3, I think.
3 years, something like that. But yeah, they haven't had it for the last couple of years. I think that their last first round pick was drafting Jared Goff. But their first pick kind of confused me with Tutu Atwell. I didn't really get that too much. And then second pick being Ernest Jones, I think was a pretty nice pick. I honestly kind of like that pick. Other than that, maybe not too much. I guess Bobby Brown was a decent pick, but I mean, who needs if you have Aaron Donald, I don't really know if you need another defensive tackle even on the line. And taking 3 receivers, I'm kind of confused about. I think Cooper Kupp, you still have, of course, you have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. You also have no, I'm probably wrong about that. I don't think that they've Josh Reynolds, but I don't really know. This draft didn't seem too well for me. Of course, they didn't have their first, but I'm gonna give them a C+ on this one.
Okay, moving on to the next team, which is the Las Vegas Raiders. First round took Alex Leatherwood, tackle out of Alabama. Trevon Moehrig, safety out of TCU in the second. And then in the third, picked up Malcolm Koonce, edge rusher out of Buffalo, and Divine Diablo, safety out of Virginia Tech. And lastly, in the fourth, picked up another safety, Tyree Gillespie out of Mizzou.
If you were to just take the first round grade of this draft, it's an F. You could have gotten Alex Leatherwood in the third round. But then they followed that pick up by getting, in my eyes, one of the top 10 prospects in the draft in Trevon Moehrig. And they got another late steal, Divine Diablo. Malcolm Koonce was a guy who 2 months ago guys were saying was going to go undrafted, but he really boosted his stock after his pro day, and the Raiders are willing to take a shot on him in round 3. This is a really out there draft. Each pick is extremely different in regards to stock and where they actually were picked. So I feel like there's no other grade to give them other than C, but the Raiders always try to outsmart everyone and take the weird guy, as we've seen with the Clellan Ferrell and the Damon Arnett picks.
I'm gonna give them a C minus. I really like Divine Diablo. My bad. He was really good at Virginia Tech, and for them to get him with the 80th pick, I thought it was really nice. But the Raiders always do this every year, where in their first round picks they always reach, and it's good to take a guy that you want, like really want. That's fine. Like hopefully he turns out to be something. I think Alex Leatherwood would be like an average starter, but the fact that they took him over people like Christian Darrisaw, um, they took him over Jalen Phillips, they took him over Tevin Jenkins. I'm not as high on Alex Leatherwood as I am on these other three. Even people like Liam Eichenberg, I might take them over Alex. I might take him over Alex Leatherwood too. Um, so I think Alex Leatherwood was cool, but the fact that you wasted your 17th pick on him really knocks it down to about a C minus for me. The only reason it is a C minus is because I love the Divine Diablo pick and I love the Trevon Moehrig pick.
Yeah, this is like we've seen this over and over and over from the John Gruden Raiders. Cleveland Farrell, which was a scratching pick that year, I was so confused why I didn't go with Josh Allen. And then Damon Arnett last year a few years ago. I forgot who they took last year. Or I'm not sure if it was Arnett. Or no, it was Arnett because he was across from Akuda. And this year, Alex Leatherwood. Just as in Ruggs again, which I don't know about that pick, but anyways, just a strange selection from them with Alex Leatherwood. But good. The thing is, they did they did redeem themselves with the Trevon Moehrig pick. I was so surprised he even fell that far. I thought he was a first round pick. So good for them. But other than that, I mean, if you base it off their first round, as I've said, I'd absolutely give him an F, but I'll give him a D plus. I mean, I still didn't like the rest of this draft from them, so give him a D plus.
Yeah. I mean, after the first round pick with Alex Leatherwood, I was already given the first round pick was an F minus already. But with them trading up to take Trevon Moehrig in the second round, that kind of boosted them up a little bit. But after that, it just completely fell apart. They took a linebacker, I think Malcolm Kunze, you said, in the third round, and then taking Devine Diablo and Tyree Gillespie in the third round. Two safeties, or I think one in the third, one in the fourth. But you took four safeties or three safeties, was it? And this draft, at best, I'm gonna have to give them a D plus.
Okay, so we're gonna go through all these players instead of him. Jalen Phillips, edge rusher out of Miami. Javon, tight end out of Boston College. Larnell Coleman, tackle out of Massachusetts. And Jared Doak. Running back out of
He's
Cincinnati.
still a player. Some could argue him in the draft. He's a burner. Can't remember. I mean, they do have Jakeem Grant, but this guy is more than a
I'm
burner.
gonna
He
give the
can help.
Dolphins an A as well. I was gonna give them when they based on their first round picks alone, probably like a B plus because I really thought they needed a tackle in front of Tua. But the fact that they got Eichenberg at 42, I thought that was one of the steals of the draft. I was really high on Eichenberg. I think I had him in my first round if I'm not mistaken. Um, Not too familiar with Hunter Long or the last three. I know Javon Holland. I watched him. You know, there were like Ip said, there were comparisons between him and Trevon Merrick, but obviously, you know, like Ip said, Trevon Merrick's kind of like a one trick pony, where Javon Holland's kind of like a jack of all trades. Jalen Waddle, I think, has the potential. I really do think that the Dolphins wanted Jamar Chase though, so like I think Jamar Chase was like inked onto their minds until Joe Burrow started to campaign for the Bengals to take him. But yeah, I'm gonna give them an A as well.
And no disagreement from me here. I'm going to give them an A as well. I thought Miami nailed it with that Jalen Phillips pick. But the head scratching pick for me was the Holland pick, safety from Oregon. That was a little head scratching, but other than that, man, Dolphins did a very solid job this draft. They're one of my top 5 winners. So I got to give them an A.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna give the Dolphins an A too. I think that Jalen Waddle, of course, was not the expected plan. I think that the 3 players I wouldn't mind were Chase, Pitts, and Sewell. I'm definitely not complaining with the dude whose comparison is Tyreek Hill. So I really just don't. In the end, if the 49ers do end up not being a playoff team next year, which I do think is highly likely, or I would say it's 50-50, depends how their players do and who starts and when. But if they don't be a playoff team, then we will have their first round pick next year and the year after that. So again, only time will tell with all these picks. Same with Javon Holland. I love the Jalen Phillips pick. Without injuries, I think we all know that he is the value of our number 6 pick, but those injuries are kind of concerning, which I think is why he fell. But Javon Holland's, like I said, only time is going to tell how he's going to do. If Trevon Moehrig does end up being better than him, I will say that that's an L of a pick. But Javon Holland can play DB and safety. I don't really see why we took him because we have one of the best in the league in Xavier Howard and also Byron Jones. But I do love my favorite pick of the draft, or one of my favorites. They're all my favorites, but trading up for Lee Meschenberg in the second round is definitely one of the highlights, I think. I think allowed 0 sacks since 2018, early 2018. And I definitely love this deal. Hunter Long over Brevin Jordan, maybe not my favorite, but Larnell Coleman and Jared Dokes, I think, could turn out to be some good picks. So overall, I pretty much like this draft. In the end, I'm not really thinking that I love trading down from 3 to 6, concluding that we ended up with Jalen Waddle. But it is what it is, and I really, really like this draft from Miami. I think Grier and Flores did some good jobs.
All right, next team is the Minnesota Vikings. They had a lot of picks. Actually, when I'm looking at it right now, Christian Darrisaw, at 23 out of Virginia Tech tackle, Kellen Mond, QB out of Texas A&M, Chaz Surratt, linebacker out of UNC, Wyatt Davis, guard out of Ohio State, Patrick Jones, edge rusher out of Pittsburgh, Keen Nigwagwu, running back out of Iowa State, Cameron Bynum, corner out of California, and Daenerys Robinson, edge rusher out of Florida State.
The fact that you can get a guy like Christian Darrisaw at 23 blows my mind. In other draft classes, he'd be the first tackle off the board, but the versatility of Slater and the pure beef sauce of Penn Sewell just made him fall. And then Alex Leatherwood taken over him by the Raiders, which it doesn't make sense they took Leatherwood. It makes sense they didn't go with a pure left tackle because they just signed Colton Miller to that big contract. Then third round, they followed up by sniping the Texans, trading up one spot in front to take Kellen Mond. And the Texans take Davis Mills. I guarantee you the Texans were going to take Kellen Mond at that pick. Then they got Chaz Surratt, converted quarterback, down now playing linebacker. Risky pick, not been playing linebacker too long, but his potential has definitely showed. And Wyatt Davis, an interior lineman from Ohio State, was great value, that pick. Patrick Jones went to Pitt. If you can't get into college, go to Pitt. So that's all I got to say about that one. And with that, I want to give the Vikings an A.
I'm gonna give the Vikings an A. I was thinking about giving them an A plus. They're definitely one of my winners. The pick that I really love is Daenerys Robinson out of Florida State. I watched a lot of FSU games. This dude is a beast. The fact that they got him at 134 is kind of mind-boggling to me. He's really, really good. Christian Darrisaw, like Ip said, 23 for Christian Darrisaw, especially when the damn Raiders took what's his name, Leatherwood, is kind of crazy to me. And yeah, Kellen Mond, like the Texans were definitely going to take this man, and this is why the Texans are sitting there looking stupid with Davis Mills on their team, with Deshaun Watson leaving, and the Vikings are sitting pretty. I would say the Vikings did want to take Justin Fields, so I think Kellen Mond was a backup. It came out that they were going to take him at 14 if he fell, or if the Bears didn't trade up. But the fact they got Kellen Mond as a backup option is a very, very good consolation. So they get an A from me.
Yeah, no disagreement. The Christian Darrisaw pick was really good. Plus, they even traded back to get him. I'm not sure what exactly the specific trade was. I think they got a first-round pick back.
It was
Correct
with
me if
I
I'm
think
wrong.
the Jets moved up to 14, and yeah, they did get a first back.
They did get another first-round pick. So, like, if the Jets are trash, which they're probably not going to make the playoffs, that pick is going to be very valuable. So the Vikings hit there, and then the Kellen Mond pick is perfect because if Kirk Cousins proves to be the Kirk Cousins that we know, especially the Monday Night Football Kirk Cousins, Kellen Mond could be the perfect replacement as long as he learns the system, which I think is very important. But I really like the Kellen Mond pick. I thought he was one of the more slept-on quarterbacks of this draft. So I got to give them an A for this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably give them a B plus on this one. The Darsaw is definitely a great deal. Getting 2 third-round picks in the draft to move down, what was it? I guess if I did the math right, 9 spots, and still getting the guy that I think that they wanted. I think that they would have ended up with, I'm trying to think, a top OT in the draft, maybe a guy like Eschenberg, Radons, Tevin Jenkins, but if they see Darsaw still on the board at 23, they have to be just thankful like crazy that they were able to trade down. And they did give up a 4th in that deal, but I think it doesn't matter. They didn't have a 2nd, but they did take Kellen Mond in the 3rd round, which I think is pretty surprising. I thought that he would have won the 2nd round, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Vikings were trying to take they were trying to take Fields. I'm stupid. Yeah, they were trying to take Fields earlier, so I guess that we saw that they ended up taking Kellen Mond in the 3rd round with their next pick. And none of their other picks really brightened me too much. I think Wyatt Davis was actually pretty nice pick late in the 3rd round, and Chaz Surratt in the 3rd round was also a good pick. They had 4 picks or 3 picks in the 3rd round. So overall, a pretty nice draft from the Vikings. I'm going to be giving them a B plus.
All right. Next team is the New England Patriots. Took Mac Jones obviously with the first with their first round pick, Christian Barmore, defensive tackle Alabama, Ronnie Perkins, edge rusher out of Oklahoma, Ramondre Stevens, running back out of Oklahoma, Cameron McGrone, linebacker out of Michigan. And yeah, those are their main picks. Abe, what do you think?
If you take Mac Jones, you get an F. I could give a fuck about the rest of your draft. If you take Mac Jones, get an F. Fucking stupid pick. I don't care who your quarterback is. Sure, you have Cam Newton. Just tank and get the best QB next year. Instead, you just take a fat version of Kirk Cousins. It was an awful draft pick. Granted, they didn't have to trade up for him. If they traded up for him, I would have been even more pissed. But if I'm a Patriots fan, I would be livid at this draft. Barmore still needs to be coached up. Phenomenal talent, just extremely raw. Had injuries, and that prevented his stock from being pretty high. With that being said, I'm going to give the Patriots an F because fuck Mac Jones.
Wait, if you think they could have taken like a QB in the second, or the third.
Yeah, they should. They could have just taken, instead of Mac Jones, they could have taken. I can't think who was on the board at the time. Even JOK at that spot. Even though he had those heart issues, which came out recently. But just the fact, you could have taken Mons in round 2 or Mills, and you just ruined.
Or even Kyle Trask.
Basically. What?
Even Kyle Trask.
Yeah, even Trask. Always forget about Trask because he went late second. But yeah, literally anyone but Mac Jones, and you take Mac Jones. So yeah, F.
Yeah, I thought they should have taken Trask with their second. I know that might have been a little bit of a reach, but I watched Trask a lot. I think he's a beast. Mac Jones was given a lot of shit. That's why people are not that high on him. I mean, he's went to Bama and he was with 3 of the best receivers and the best running back in the class. And also I know we all talked like a bunch of shit about Alex Leatherwood, but he's still an above average tackle, protecting him. I love the Christian Barmore pick though, and the Trey Nixon pick. I think those were steals. I do think Barmore's a little bit raw though, like Ip said, so he's gonna have to be coached up. But what better place to be coached up than under Bill Belichick? So I think if they can get him right, they said Cam Newton's gonna be their starter day 1, which I think is a right thing. I think Cam Newton needs to redeem himself from last year's atrocity after his COVID situation. We need to see if he's back or not. I think that's what they're gonna do. And then if he underperforms, you still have Mac Jones down there. So I'm gonna give them a C.
I understand this pick of Mac Jones. I was at first I was like, okay, Tom Brady replacement, sure. I like Alabama. Like it mentioned it, he had all the receivers. He had the best running back probably in the nation. Like, dude was carried on his back. Like he's not that good of a quarterback. In fact, I'd say he's a second or third round talent, and you took him at 15. People overhype this man so much. The Barrymore pick, yeah, it mentioned he needs to be coached. But I just didn't like this draft from the Patriots. I get it, you wanted a QB for the future, considering Cam is 31, 32. So I'll give him a C for this.
The Patriots situation, I think, being a Dolphins fan, I don't mind what they do. If anything, I'm hoping it's a stupid pick, and that's what exactly they did. Mac Jones at 15, I kind of don't understand. He's a quarterback from Alabama, and of course, anybody from Alabama will get all the hype, which is the reason why he went in the top 15, although I think he should have gone the second round. But Barmore also went to the Patriots, I think was a pretty nice move. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that they did trade up to the 6th pick I'm looking at in the second round to take Barmore. I think that Belichick has some connections. Belichick does have some connections with Saban, taking 2 Alabama players in the 1st and 2nd round. Ronnie Perkins, I think, was an okay take from Oklahoma, the defensive end. But they did sign Matthew Judon. I don't really think it was too necessary. And they took a running back in the 4th round. I'm not too sure about that. But in all honesty, I don't see Mac Jones being as good as the player that the hype he's getting. But I'm gonna be giving them, I guess, a B- here. That Barmore pick, trading up and to take him in the 2nd round, is kind of carrying them on this grade.
Next team is the New Orleans Saints. Peyton Turner, defensive end at Houston. Pete Werner, linebacker out of Ohio State. Paulson Adebo, corner out of Stanford, and Ian Book, QB out of Notre Dame, are their notable picks. Ip.
Ian Book's a weird pick. What seems like, why would you take a quarterback round 4? You have Winston, you have Taysom Hill. Like, he could be your franchise guy, but why waste a 4 on that? He's not going to play over Winston. He's not going to play over Hill. So that's just a weird pick. Peyton Turner, some people might say it's weird, but I really like that selection. Very developed edge. Saints are in a win-now mode, and win-now doesn't come by coaching up Jason Owe and Greg Rousseau, so that's why they took him. Pete Werner was a reach. Inside sources from Ohio State that I have say that his dad was paying the coaches, and that's the reason he was a 3-year starter. And with that being said, I'm gonna give the Saints. Let's see.
I'm gonna give the Saints an F. Bro. Not a fan of any of their major picks. Ian Book, I'm a firm believer that you could probably have gotten Ian Book in the damn 7th round. I wouldn't even be surprised if Ian Book went undrafted. The fact that y'all took him at 4 in the 4th round was kind of head scratching. Pete Werner, same thing. Reach. Peyton Turner, I get what Ip's saying that he's kind of a win now, but I think Greg Rousseau and Jason Owe are levels ahead of him. The fact that y'all took him as your 1st round pick, I'm not a fan of it. It's just head scratching from the Saints. I'm not really sure what they were trying to do in this draft. I mean, Paulson Adebo is the one guy that I'm like, okay, like cool, you took him, that's fine. But the other picks, man, I'm not a fan of. I'm gonna give them an F, man.
Okay, you got to listen to this. So I was talking to my friend. He's a Saints fan on draft night, and I was literally mocking him for taking Peyton Turner, which is an L of a pick. And so, in fact, I don't even care about their picks. I'm giving the Saints an F. Okay, you dressed a nothing. Your defense is a shambles. You have a glorified fullback as your QB. Ian Book is not going to save your ass. You're literally done for. This team is atrocious. I'm so glad they messed up this draft. Saints get an F.
Yeah, I'm also going to be giving the Saints an F here. Listen, it's crazy to think that the Saints are going to be going from one of the best teams in the league to, I'm going to say, possibly a non-playoff team. I don't think that Jameis Winston is going to be able to do it all. And, I mean, maybe Kamara can carry them to some wins, but to me, it's not looking like playoffs, especially after this draft. Being a Canes fan, of course, I've watched Gregory Rousseau play. I've went to some games. He's a beast, and for the fact that they have Peyton Turner over him is just incredible. Pete Werner, probably a reach too. All these picks are kind of reaches, so I don't understand it. Ian Book got a 43 draft grade on ESPN I'm looking at, which is out of 100, I'm gonna guess. So yeah, I don't really see why they took Ian Book either. They probably could have signed him after the draft, but yeah, I don't understand it at all. It's an F.
All right, next team is the New York Giants. Obviously traded down for Kadarius Toney, receiver out of Florida, Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher out of Georgia, Aaron Robinson, corner out of UCF, and Ellerson Smith, edge rusher out of Northern Iowa.
You have to also take into account that they gained a 1st-round pick for next year's draft out of this. So Kadarius Toney was kind of the one type receiver they didn't have. They have possession guys in Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. Oh God, why am I blanking on their other receiver right now? Someone tell me.
Kenny Galladay.
Oh yeah, they got Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay is the big go up and get a receiver. Not the most technically defined route runner, but that's not what he does. Then they went out and got Kadarius Toney. They didn't have a slot guy. Now they have a quick little slot guy. Agile as shit. Azeez Ojulari, either a 3-4 outside linebacker or a 2-point stance DN, which is the same thing. Great value at that pick at 50. And Aaron Robinson, the Eagles traded back from 70 to 73. I thought that might have been who they were going to pick there, but instead we got Milton Williams. But Aaron Robinson was tremendous value for the Giants at this pick. They didn't address O-line as early as they should have, but they did. But, their O-line fucking blows. So they did gain an extra first, and their top 3 selections were all great value. Kadarius Toney, some could argue, was a reach, but I believe it was what that team needed. Another thing to add is that the fact they took a receiver round 1 tells me if the Eagles hadn't traded up from 12 to 10, and that they would have taken Devontae Smith at 11. So I'm thankful we did. So the Giants get an A-.
I'm gonna give the Giants a B+. This would have been an A if they took an O lineman. I don't even think they took an O lineman. I'm looking at their draft picks right now. They did not take an O lineman at all. So I think they really, really needed one. Because your O-line is trash. They were the 31st ranked offense, and the O-line was a big part of that, not protecting Daniel Jones. But Kadarius Toney is a beast. Kadarius Toney, in my opinion, is the best receiver after the catch. He is so elusive. He's a guy, man. Kadarius Toney is a beast. I'm so happy that Kadarius Toney got picked at 20 because I definitely thought that he was around that range. Aaron Robinson, another guy, beast. Azeez Ojulari, beast. I love their top 3 picks. They're all really, really good picks. It's just the fact that they didn't address the O-line situation. That is the only reason why it's a B+ for me.
I'm gonna have to give the Giants a B here. I'm just not satisfied. I mean, Kadarius Toney, you picked the wide receiver 11 at pick 20. I get it, he's a beast after the catch, but look at his size, bruh. But like as Flight Reacts would say, look at his player build. I mean, not exactly. And the other thing is he takes a bunch of hits. Not really the type of receiver you want. And plus, you already have Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slay. Did Golden Tate re-sign back? I'm not sure. But still, that's like a hell of a lot of receivers. And maybe
Golden Tate is a free agent.
Okay, yeah, he's a free agent. I'm sorry. But still, like, I don't like that pick. Other than that, the Azeez Ojulari and whatever, and Aaron Robinson pick, I really like those picks. I think they nailed it with that. Sorry to give him a B.
For the Giants, I think that they did have some good picks in the first couple rounds. Kadarius Toney, some people think it's a reach. I personally do. I think that they could have taken. Can somebody remind me when Bateman? Oh, wasn't Rashad Bateman taken?
27.
When was he taken again? 27. So Bateman was on the board. I don't know about that pick. I don't know about Kadarius Toney at 20. I think Bateman was the safest pick. I love the Azeez Ojulari pick in the second round. I think that they traded probably with the Dolphins, and Aaron Robinson, I guess, is an okay pick. They have James Bradbury, I believe, and then also I'm forgetting his name. Logan Ryan, I think, is also some other names I can't remember at the time. But the rest of the picks were okay. I love the Azeez Ojulari pick, but I'm going to have to give them a B here.
All right, the next team is the New York Jets. Obviously took Zach Wilson with the second pick. Elijah Vera Tucker traded up for him. Elijah Moore as well as Michael Carter.
All right, Jets time. Zach Wilson has the potential to be the best QB in the draft. Yeah, I said it. Elijah Vera Tucker trading up for him, but getting rid of your 2-3s was a risky move. But Elijah Vera Tucker shores up that left side of the line. They got Mekhi Becton, now they got Vera Tucker. That'll be the left side of the line for the next 10, 15 years. Getting Michael Carter was an absolute steal in the fourth round. He should have gone late 2, early 3. And then Elijah Moore, kind of receiver they needed. They signed Corey Davis. They got Jamison Crowder. Now they got Elijah Moore to be a guy after the catch. So with all that, I'm going to give the Jets an A+.
I'm going to give the Jets an A. I think Elijah Moore was probably the steal of the draft, one of the steals of the draft. I definitely thought the fact that they traded up for Elijah Vera Tucker and still got Elijah Moore with that pick that they got back from the Giants in the second round was an absolute W for them. Michael Carter was a beast at UNC. They even got Michael Carter out of Duke as well, which is kind of funny. They got 2 Michael Carters, the cornerback out of Duke. Zach Wilson is someone that I'm not too sold on because he did play at BYU, which is not, the elite school. So yeah, I'm gonna give them an A.
Let me tell you guys something. It just seems to me that when Adam Gase left the franchise, Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas were like, we cannot let what happened to Sam Darnold happen to Zach Wilson. And they addressed that immediately, getting Vera Tucker and getting Elijah Moore, getting Michael Carter, signing Corey Davis in the offseason. They made sure that they needed weapons for Wilson. They needed protection, or else he'd become Sam Darnold 2.0. So I have to give the Jets an A on this one. They did an excellent job, and hopefully they don't have another Sam Darnold situation in New York.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. I don't think that the same situation's gonna happen with Darnold. I think that Zach Wilson's gonna be better player as Darnold is like he's honestly kind of trash. But we saw Darsoft fall to number 23, which is where the Jets were in the first round, and then they traded up with the Vikings to 14. As we saw Darsoft obviously fall to number 23. It looks like the Jets really, really wanted Barry Tucker with the chance that the Vikings were going to take him, with, of course, Fields off the board. The Jets made the move and traded up. But I think that seeing how this draft turned out, they probably could have gone at least either Barry Tucker or Darsoft at number 23. So I think giving up both their thirds was not the best deal, but they still did get one of the best offensive guards in this draft. Of course, one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. Michael Carter in the 4th round. I love the pick. Same with Elijah Moore. Just 4 straight offensive picks. And then Michael Carter, another Michael Carter the second. Maybe not the best pick, but I think that most of the picks in the later rounds weren't too good, but I think that the 4 first picks were the best ones, being 4 offensive picks with Wilson, Vera Tucker, Moore, and Michael Carter. I do like this draft for them. They got most of their position needs, and I'm gonna say that I'm gonna probably give them an A just because they traded up to take Vera Tucker with that trade, and I'm gonna give them an A.
Okay. Next team is the Philadelphia Eagles. Favorite team. Devontae Smith, obviously, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, and Zach Mcpherson were their main picks. You have the floor.
You guys all saw my draft reaction. I was pretty sad that we got Devontae. But same thing I did with the Rager pick. I get sad. Then I watch his highlights. I'm like, fine, we made the right move for the franchise, which I think we did. He was the best receiver on the board by a fair margin. It kind of sucks we had to jump the Giants, but to get a guy like him, who I think could be a guy like Keenan Allen, it was the right move. I do have my doubts about his size, but everyone says, like, he says he doesn't. He weighs, I weigh more than him. I'm taller than him. Like, I can't get off the line. Now, I'm sure he can. He has the highest win rate against press coverage in college football. But what is he going to do against, like, Jalen Ramsey? Nothing. What is he going to do against Jair Alexander? Nothing. I just feel like his peak will be a good number 1 receiver, but once he goes against the lockdown corner, he won't be doing much. Landon Dickerson, I was a little sad about this pick, but more I thought about it, it was a high risk, high reward. If this guy wasn't injured, he would have been a top 15 pick. He would have gone ahead of Elijah Vera Tucker. He had the injury history, but if he doesn't get injured, this guy will be a future All-Pro. Milton Williams, another pick that confused me, but once I look into it, he had an RAS, and all of his skills were top 90 percentile, and he got a grade of, I think, like 9.9 something out of 10 for his relative athletic score, and that was phenomenal. He has the versatility to play edge, versatility to play inside, just a D lineman that can play anywhere, really. And with already us having a guy like Brandon Graham, it kind of draws similarities between them two. We all remember the play in Super Bowl 52 where he went into nose guard and then forced fumble against Tom Brady's bitch ass. That was a great play. Not to mention that Milton Williams has drawn comparisons to Aaron Donald, but he was a 3rd-round pick, so I guess we'll have to see. Zach Mcpherson, transferred from Penn State. I don't really like when players transfer from better schools to small schools, because it kind of shows me that they weren't ready to put in all the work. But I want to say I saw a number that said he was the highest graded corner outside of Horn, Surtain, and I can't remember the 3rd guy, but he's got a lot of grades. And
Is it Farley?
It wasn't Farley. He didn't play last year. But I was watching the press conferences. Howie said he might have even tried to trade back into the 3rd round to get him. So it seems the Eagles really like him. Now we're going to move on to the later picks. Gainwell, Tuipulotu, Jackson, Stevens, and Johnson. I make a list for every draft of my guys, which are just guys that could go anywhere in the draft that I love. And the Eagles never take them. But they took Kenneth Gainwell and Jacoby Stevens. Yasu Haas, I think it was. It was Newsom. They took 2 of my guys. They took Kenneth Gainwell and Jacoby Stevens, which had me they had me out of my seat. Now, I don't really know if there's any of you guys that were 5th and 6th round picks, get you out of your seat, but these ones did. Kenneth Gainwell can line up in the slot. He can catch passes out of the backfield. He can do anything. He can light the fuck up out of Micah Parsons. I don't know if you guys have seen that highlight, but he lit him the fuck up in the Cotton Bowl in 2019. And Jacoby Stevens is a future of the NFL. Well, not Jacoby Stevens himself, but the kind of position he plays is, I think, where the NFL is trending with guys like Jeremy Chin, guys like Darius Leonard, and guys like Isaiah Simmons, guys that are versatile, guys that can play safety, guys that can come down in the box, play linebackers. Jacoby Stevens even came off the edge in some situations. And Marlon Tuipulotu, just a big-ass nose tackle, which we needed. So, Eagles, we got rid of a third to get Devontae, but I don't really want to give them an A because my gut reaction was bad. So I'm just going to give them a nice B, set the expectations low to see if they can exceed them.
I'm going to give the Eagles a B+. The Devontae Smith thing, it wasn't even that they took him. At first, I was actually asking myself, we traded up for him because I thought he was going to still be there at 13. But then it reminded me when I asked him that the Giants probably would have taken him, seeing that they had taken a receiver, Kadarius Toney, with the 20th pick if they had stayed at that spot. So it was a smart move by the Eagles to trade up and take Devontae Smith, who's probably not the best receiver as compared to Waddle and Chase, but he is the next best option. And he is a Heisman winner, which I know doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but it shows that he has what it takes to win something. I actually did not like the Landon Dickerson pick, but I'm not sure if it was just me. But I did like the Milton Williams pick. So I'm gonna give them a B.
I'm going to give the Eagles a B as well. I really like the Devonta Smith pick. And if I got to give y'all credit, I appreciate the Eagles trading from 73 to let the Panthers get Brady Christensen. That was very thankful. I'm really thankful for that, in fact. I appreciate it. But the Eagles did a solid job, I think. They have 3 first-round picks for next year, which will come in very handy. So I got to give them a B on this one.
I'm gonna be honest. The Philly pick, I could see it, but Devontae Smith at 10, I guess, trading up again over the Giants. We'll see how it turns out for them. One of their team needs, it says on ESPN, is a quarterback. They do. I just saw. Now remembering that they do have 3 first-round picks this year, or this upcoming year, next year. It's going to be the Colts pick if Wentz does play more than 11 games. Their pick, and then the Dolphins pick. Landon Dickerson, the 2nd round, I think was a pretty nice pick for their O lineman, and Milton Williams was an okay pick for the D lineman. Overall, a pretty nice draft, I think, from Philly. I'm gonna give them a B+ on this.
Okay, next team is the Pittsburgh Steelers, staying in the same state. And we have Najee Harris at 24, Pratt Freiermuth at 23 of the 2nd round, Kendrick Green, Dan Moore, and Buddy Johnson are their notable picks.
The Steelers got great players, but they didn't necessarily address the need. Najee Harris is going to be a Pro Bowl running back. It's just a fact. Freiermuth is a very reliable tight end, which they don't really have. So they got 2 great players in the first 2 rounds, but they didn't address their needs, which was O-line. I think they only have 1 rostered O-lineman right now. Might have been the 2nd. And yes, Hudson, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia are in the same state. They're both in Pennsylvania. Of course, they didn't teach that because I'm not even going to get into it. And Quincy Roche, I think they got him round 6, but that was a phenomenal selection. I could have seen him going late 2, early 3. So that being said, the players they got, A+. But the fact that they got no lineman really brings down that grade. So I'm going to give them a B.
I definitely think that Pittsburgh did have a pretty nice draft. I think a lot of people don't like it, but I kind of do like the Najee Harris pick at number 24. They did take the best tight end. Definitely not the best. The second best tight end after Pitts, Pat Freiermuth. I'm not trying to pronounce that. And they did also take an OT in Dan Moore in the 4th round. Kendrick Green, I think, is a decently good pick out of Illinois, the center in the 3rd round. But Quincy Roche, I forgot about that pick. I'm looking now all the way down. In the 6th round, that is a steal. I'm telling you, the Hurricanes definitely some of the top linebacker / defensive ends with Rosu, whatever it is, and then Phillips and Roche or Rochu, whatever it is. That was definitely a steal in the 6th round. And other than that, I think I do like the Najee Harris pick. But I'm going to be giving Pittsburgh a solid B-.
I'm going to give Pittsburgh B+, not because they had bad picks, but like Ip said, they did not really address the O-line situation. Najee Harris is good, but if he's not being protected, then he's kind of, you're not really fulfilling his full potential. Dan Moore is not the answer. I don't think he's the answer at that O-line spot. I definitely think that they could have had, a running back later if they needed one. Obviously, James Conner sucks, so they obviously wanted to take Najee Harris, but they could have. There were some other good running backs later, so I think they could have snagged a running back later, or they could have taken an old lineman instead of taking Kendrick Green in the 3rd round. I really do think that because this is also a very deep O-line class as well. Dan Moore, I'm not a fan of though, so I don't think he's the answer. So I'm gonna give them a C. And we can move on to the next team now. We're very close to being done with these teams. The 49ers, I think, are the next team, and they obviously had a big part to play in this draft. Obviously, taking Trey Lance at number 3, Aaron Banks, Trey Sermon, Ambry Thomas, and Jalen Moore are the notable picks.
In the 1st round, and especially a guy like Trey Lance, where in a given year without Trevor Lawrence, I think it should be the 1st draft pick. It's hard to not give this team an A, but Trey Sermon in the 3rd round made absolutely no sense. You could have gotten him in round 5. Aaron Banks was a solid pick. Wasn't the best pick, but it was solid. But Trey Lance, man, like Kyle Shanahan is gonna go nuts with this guy. He might not start week 1. He might not start week 2. He might not start until 2021 or 2022. I forgot. But this guy will be a stud in the NFL. He can run like Lamar Jackson. He can toss it like Zach Wilson. So it'll be very fun to see what Shanahan does with this guy. I'm going to give the 49ers an A.
I'm going to give the 49ers an A too. I love Trey Lance. I think he is the 2nd best QB in this draft. Controversial maybe, but I do think he is. I think he has the total package. Like Ip said, though, I'm not really convinced on the Trey Sermon pick. Do think that you could have gotten him. You could have definitely gotten him in the 4th or traded down. But the fact that y'all took him at 88 was kind of a reach. I love Ambry Thomas, though. I think he's a beast from Michigan. I'm going to give them an A, though, mainly because of the Trey Lance pick.
I definitely think that the 49ers did a pretty nice job with this draft. Taking Trey Lance at number 3. I'm still going to say Justin Fields right now. Now, we can record this and go back to it in a year or 2. I'm going to say that the 49ers should have taken Trey Lance with the 49ers should have taken Justin Fields with their 3rd pick in the 2021 NFL draft. If Trey Lance does turn out to be the superstar, then I'm going to take back what I said. But I definitely love the Aaron Banks pick, the offensive guard in the 2nd round. Also, Trey Sermon out of Ohio State is a pretty underrated pick, I think. That should be pretty good for them. They took 2 running backs, one in the 6th round being Elijah Mitchell, but Ambry Thomas, the quarterback from Michigan, and then Jalen Moore, another offensive guard from Western Michigan. 49ers overall had a pretty good draft, so I'm probably going to be giving them between an A and an A+. I'm going to have to give them I'm gonna go with an A on this one.
All right, next pick is next team is very, very short. So the Seattle Seahawks only had 3 picks. Dwayne Eskridge from Western Michigan, Trey Brown out of Oklahoma, and Stone Forsythe out of Florida. Very simple. Only 3 picks. Abe, what do you have on this?
Eskridge is a boomer bust guy. He's a deep threat. They already had a guy like Tyler Lockett, but he can definitely do more in the possession game. So if they see Tyler Lockett as their possession and slot receiver, they see DK Metcalf as their go up and get it receiver, and they see Eskridge as their deep guy, then they completed their receiving core. But they should have addressed O-line earlier than they did. Eskridge was a bit of an immature selection at that spot. They did get Trey Brown, but Christensen was on the board. Who else? What other tackles were on the board? Cosby might have been on the board. Hudson, when did Eichenberg go? 54?
Wait,
he went
on the board when? And like what pick?
Probably.
When did Eichenberg get drafted?
30.
Like what pick?
I think maybe it was like the 12th pick in the second round, so maybe
Oh yeah, he was off the board.
46.
You could still trade up and make a move for Liam Eichenberg, but
Yeah, he was
if
at
they had a higher
42.
grade, if they had a higher grade on Eskridge and stuck to their board, fine by me. But it's like Russ can have all the weapons in the world. If he's getting sacked, he can't throw the ball. So I'm gonna give the Seahawks a C+.
I'm gonna give the Seahawks a C. They did not address their defensive line, and I think that was a main integral need for them. That's the reason I'm giving them a C. I like the other picks though. I think Eskridge is good. Like Ip said, they already have 2 really good receivers in Lockett and Metcalf. So if Eskridge can turn out to be something, they got their receiving core. And yeah,